My cursive writing is very good. I get compliments on it all the time. I'm trying to kind of, write it quick so I can watch the next play and do all that. So it's not my perfect, but I get a lot of compliments. Both of you. Oh, yeah. What's up? Yo, yo, yo. It's Chris SIMMS Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here, and I have tortured him once again. I mean, if I'm going to steal this quote from him. If I'm going to sit there and watch film for the last 2 days straight, I'm going to make this mother effer here work and read through my notes and not make it that easy. Got to put him to work, too. So he has deciphered the code, him and Pete Dimalitalitis. I haven't said that in a while.
We haven't said that in a while.
I know, right? What's going on here? We got to incorporate that once again. But what's up, man? It's our treasure hunting What the F Happened Wednesday podcast.
Yeah.
Ahmed is here with a water bottle.
Yep.
No energy drink. He's very proud to tell me before the pod that, have you noticed this is the second pod in a row I don't have my energy drink.
Exactly.
I am proud.
Thank you.
And you have one less computer screen this week in front of you than last week. So what's up?
I got rid of my laptop because it died last time anyway. I was like, I don't need it. I'm going to go with the total tablet.
Cool.
Setup here. No energy drink. As Pete said, you're pretending to give up energy drinks once again, which is true. I'm pretending.
How long
are
you off the wagon for so far?
I'm not. So I'm just trying to limit them. You know, one every other day.
Okay.
Where I was going one, maybe two a day there for a while.
Does it affect you? Do you notice an effect? Do you have problems sleeping or anything like that?
That's the problem too. I think my body is immune to caffeine at this point.
Right.
So it's like if you're not even getting the benefit of it, what's the point?
And even like no cutoff either. Like you could drink that at 5 PM and still. See, that's where. Yeah, I don't know what I drink a lot of coffee between 6 a.m. and 12 a.m. But I mean 12 p.m. I guess.
But that's your cutoff.
My cutoff. Once I get to around 12:30 or 1, I have that like wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh shit, I'm wide awake here. What the hell is going on? And I finally connected the dots to go, well, maybe it was that 4 cups of coffee I had, or that extra cup of coffee I had at 1:30 or 2 o'clock.
I have had some nights where I haven't been able to fall asleep, and maybe I could attribute that to the 2 or 3 energy drinks that I had that day. So that's maybe a good point on your part. But yeah, and I think this is the first time maybe in the history of this podcast that I have shorter hair than you do. I feel like
my hair has become a very controversial thing. I mean, I literally have had 3 different men this week comment about my hair. And I've had men text me during football night in America about my hair, like friends that I haven't seen in a while. And I've told my wife about it a little bit because it's like I had the shaved, all the way up to the top and just left a little hair on top for a while. And I feel like I told you this. Most of the women in my life, a.k.a. my mom, my wife, and my sister, have really bitched and moaned about it, all right? Like
they didn't like it.
Oh, you're going to grow your hair out. You have such beautiful hair, Christopher. Why are you doing this? And so I've been getting that. Okay, right? But but I've had, some men here recently ask me about it and ask me, what, are you going to cut your hair soon? So they're telling me they don't like this new part look that I got going on.
I think as men, we don't like change, right? We like things to stay the same forever. It's kind of rocking our world to see you with a different kind of a hairstyle. But I like it. I think you've powered through kind of an awkward middle
phase.
Stage.
Right.
And now I'm noticing a little bit of a wave.
You see that wave
there? You have
there?
natural waves.
I do have natural waves. Yes, I know. It is. It's funny. It's my son, he talks about it. He's like, your hair's like kind of curly and has waves in it. I never thought that. So
I like it.
I'm going to keep going. My real test is like, Morgan, what do you think? Hair? Did you like it the other way or this way? Give it to me here, Morgan. Keep it straight. You like it like this?
She likes it. All right, so you'll
more
keep going.
times than not, the women like the longer traditional look.
Yep.
And as usual, the dumb man likes to just shave the side. They like that.
That's what I told my barber yesterday. Shave the side. You don't want the Chris SIMMS? Then I go, I don't want the new Chris SIMMS. Give me the old Chris SIMMS.
And you're not going to ever go to hair dye or anything like that. Like you are going to embrace your grays, right?
There's not that much gray.
No, there's a lot there. There's a lot. But you look good with it.
Thank you.
It's you. I wouldn't hide from it if I were you.
I feel like I have a little bit of a youthful look sometimes, where people sometimes think I'm still a kid.
Yeah.
To where the gray helps.
The
gives
gray
me some
helps.
authority.
You're distinguished.
Right? Yeah. It's like, all right, that guy might know a little bit of something.
Right.
Where if I just had no gray hair, I'd be like, why is this kid trying to tell me what's up? That is hair talk.
Yes, hair talk.
At the top of What the F Happened Wednesday.
Real treasures.
Treasure Hunters. We're rebranding it Treasure Hunters because, yes, Chris, as he mentioned there, he went deep into the film.
Yep.
He looked for hidden treasure. So because on Sunday you got all the games going on, it's hard to keep track of them all. Even the Monday we had 2 games happening. It's like you got to dive into these films play by play to really uncover these treasures.
Yes,
right?
you do. It stresses me out. I'm probably not the nicest person to like Pete Dimalitolitis and Matt Casey during Mondays and Tuesdays, because I'm like, I hate not knowing. And then I know I'm under the gun to get to know, and I'm asked to talk about some of these subjects too, to where I'm like, and it stresses me out. I don't want to be a bullshitter. You know me there. I don't want to speak to something that I don't have a pretty good feel about. So it does. Like yesterday is a stressful day for me, because I'm like, okay, I got to get through this and try to, be concise with what I'm seeing and going, so I can provide information to you guys and the listeners for the pod.
And the good thing I like about this too is that you will pick out all the things where you were like, all right, this is my gut feeling on Sunday and Monday from watching it, and it was confirmed in the tape.
Yeah,
or
the opposite.
My gut feeling has been, denied by what I saw in this tape.
Right.
It's been changed.
Right.
So we're going to get into that. We got Tua, we got Lamar, we got Josh Allen, we got Mahomes, we got Herbert, we got Kyler. It's not just the quarterbacks, it's the teams, it's the offenses, it's the defenses that they faced, because you got some compliments to give to some defenses out there that you really are falling in love with here early in the season.
Definitely.
Which was reflected in your cursive note. So let's kick it off with the same team that kicked it off on Monday, because I think they are the talk of the NFL right now.
Right
what
now.
they are doing. The Miami Dolphins and their great comeback win against the Baltimore Ravens. And, of course, the Twitter sphere is going crazy with you because of what you have said about Tua in the past.
Right.
Not really jumping on board with his arm strength and the way he sees the field.
And then Big Cat over at Barstool, he's always
not
giving
making
me crap.
things better.
No, well, he's my buddy, but he likes to give me crap, and he knows he's adding the pressure on me by saying this. So up yours, Big Cat, okay? Up yours.
So you took a closer look here.
Right.
There was hidden treasure in what Tua actually did. Where does Tua get credit? Where does the Ravens defense get blame? You looked at the tape. You looked closer at Tua.
Right.
After doing that,
yeah.
What's your gut telling you?
Well, my gut tells me, we should be impressed by what we saw. There was a lot to like about the performance, 100%.
Of all-time Tua games, where does it rank?
The best game he's ever played, ever. There's no doubt. And again, listen, I hope we've done a good job to tell everybody how good we think their team is, right? Right? And, of course, the coach is very creative. It's the most creative offense they've had. But, I know that's going to sound like I'm trying to qualify something here, but I'm not. I'm saying that it's giving opportunities to Tua, so that, of course, is making him look better, just like we talk about just about any quarterback. You got to have that to a degree. And then I think the other thing, too, is where, it's cool is, the game got away from them. He had to push the envelope a little bit with, like, okay, we got to start making some stuff happen, and showed me that he could do that. Was aggressive with some mindset. Third downs throughout the game were a big thing. I mean, he made some big plays on third downs and put the ball in some areas where I went, okay, Tua, you continue to do this, I'll start being a believer and join Tua on as well. So that's what was cool. But
you've applied?
No, I have not applied yet. I'm not applying yet. But I'm definitely was impressed with what I saw, and just overall their attack and their team, just like we talked about week one, it's very impressive, and they really can stress you out.
So what is it about it? What was better in this game than you have seen Tua do in the past?
Well,
outside of those things you mentioned there, but you also mentioned some of his quick release ability.
Yes, no doubt about it. I think that's the other thing too. Hey, listen, life gets made easy for him too because of McDaniels and their ability to draw up plays to get, hey, here's a ball to Tyreek in the flat real quick, or Waddle here real quick. And they're so lightning fast, it's unbelievable. Where they can catch a ball for 2 or 3 and you go, oh, shit, they just got 15 yards. I just showed you a play, right? Before we started the podcast, just going, this is the other thing that kills you and then makes you have to play a different defense because they throw this and you think, well, it's only a 1-yard pass, but then they get 12 or 15 yards. But the thing where I will give Tua credit with that stuff too is he has an ability, and I've used this before, he's a point guard to dish it out in a hurry. He can flick the ball out there. He does have a quick release and can get the ball out of his hands very, very, very quickly, and and doesn't need to wind up all the time on those type of throws. And that's what I meant by flick. There was a few plays even too where he just, looking downfield, doesn't like what he sees, and he throws a ball to the flare route to the running back or somebody in the flat, and just can, and I wish people could watch here, just look down and just it looks like he's just throwing a dart real quick. And there is some talent and some usefulness to that, to get the guy, the ball in space. Now, he got it to me quick, and now I can make a guy miss and get upfield and make something happen.
And on Twitter, all the plays that people see are the
2 plays.
The 2 plays. Tyreek
right.
was open. He's not going to get a whole lot of credit. I don't think he got a whole lot of credit on our podcast for those. Although you do see some quarterbacks overthrow a guy or still miss it. You're like, how did he miss that guy who was wide open?
My big thing with those is just like, those are great. That's great. I don't see. Those are the plays that I'm not going to necessarily just go, oh my gosh, Tua. I'm not. I'm going to go, damn, that was some stupid shit the Ravens did, and good job by him just hitting the throw. There's no question about that. But yeah, those were to me some of the least impressive plays of the day, if that can say that. I expect him to hit. If he doesn't hit some of that, I go, oh crap, we got major problems. Like we need to go to Teddy Bridgewater. So those were good. It's some of the other plays he makes. It's Gesicki down the middle at 28-7, and they got 9 guys dropping in coverage, and he's patient, and then really nobody's open, and he throws a ball 25 yards down the middle of the field and throws it high up in the air to where Gesicki, like an alley-oop pass, like Steph Curry full court alley-oop pass, and puts it in the spot where there was a guy in front of Gesicki. They kind of had it covered. The guy in front of him, like, he didn't even fully jump because he's like, wait, is somebody behind me? Or that ball is going out of bounds. And it was perfect because Gesicki's tall, long. So those are the plays that I looked at to go, okay, yeah, Tua, here we go. Let me see what you got.
He might be gaining confidence because you noted a couple times in your note that the Ravens did force him to make the decision, are you going to try to fit this into a tight window?
They did. They did.
And he took those risks.
He did take those risks, and of course paid for it early in the game. But this is where I give him credit is he didn't back away from it. He didn't go, well, I've thrown 2 interceptions here and then we're done 28-7, so I'm just going to check it down. You've heard me complain about other quarterbacks like that. He was going to go down swinging. And I love that. I love that he did that. He wasn't worried about it. Okay, I got to throw a out route between the corner and the safety here. Okay, I'm going to put it in the spot here and give him a chance. And he did that. And it was those little things and the third downs like I talked about that, helped them win the football game and get to the point where now they can screw up the defense and Tyreek Hill can be wide open down the field.
Is Mike McDaniel a perfect coach for this team? The way it's constructed, the speed. What do they do?
Well, their run game is extremely well designed, right? So you have to respect it. Even though you go, well, their offensive line's not great yet and they're not killing people, they run the right plays and the right looks, and they know they're well coached through Shanahan and all that we got to respect it. We got to get a guy down here to help out and stop it. So then he plays off of that, and he's got RPOs where, hey, there's too many guys in the box. Okay, boom, fake that little run, throw it out here to Tyreek and Waddle, and we like our numbers out here with a receiver or 2 blocking for you. And now they get upfield, and you go, well, shit, it was a run play, and they got 15 yards because, you had to overcommit to stop the run play, and he throws it out there and does that. That's where they're really good. So he's stressing you out, and I think I wrote this at some point where it's just like the run game, the movement, and then these quick passes that become, like significant gains, and then the occasional shot, because now you start to go, well, we got to take away some of these easy, underneath throws or whatever that are getting 12 and 15 yards and killing us, and then that leaves some opportunities to throw some aggressive balls down the field. So he has found the formula to stress people out, and like I said, he's creative, and then along with the talent,
right.
They're going to be a pain in the ass for a lot of people.
You love that speed; it stood out to you, but also that fullback, Alec Ingold, effing people up. So they do have some power there.
They do. That's what I mean. You got to respect it. And then also Mostert. I mean, when they have Mostert on the field with Gesicki and Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and then whoever you want to put in there as the third receiver, Cedric Wilson, whatever, you just go, man. I mean, it's one of those things that I said to Pete in the pre-meeting where you go, sometimes you go, are they in fast forward, or is this real here? Did I put it like times 0.5 speed here in this, and you just go, my gosh, they are so fast.
Yeah.
And that's where they really stressed the Ravens defense out and finally got the Ravens into a point where they had to take some chances later in the game and screwed some things up, and that led to some big plays by Tua in the offense as well.
So that's a good jumping off point for the Ravens here as you look at that side of the ball. Of course, the Dolphins did things to stress them out. Did the Ravens shoot themselves in the foot defensively?
Yes, to a degree. Maybe asked too much of some new guys in the secondary like we talked about Monday. Just, too creative. And then you add that with the moving parts of the Dolphins, and I think they got confused with like, wait, what do I do? Like, let's take the Tyreek Hill long touchdown pass down the left sideline, right? Mm-hmm. I think that was Kyle Hamilton's fault. Either way, I know it's one of the safeties' fault. It's him or Marcus Williams. But, there was I believe it was Gesicki on the left. He motioned to the other side. Hamilton went with him. I don't think he should have. I think he should have stayed there, and then he backs into the back part of the field to be the safety there. But that's where, yes, I would have gone, you know what, with these guys, play conservative and continue to try to make them work and take the clock away, okay? But here's the other problem, right? So they asked some things there, and, of course, they mess it up. But here's the problem, too, and where I always try to put myself into everybody's shoes when I watch this stuff, right? Where if I'm Mike McDonald and he's watching the second half unfold, when he played vanilla four-man rush, let me play coverage, right?
Mike McDaniel.
McDonald is the defensive coordinator. I think it's Mike McDonald. Yeah, I think it's Mike McDonald.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You got me all confused here. I've got you confused.
You got me confused.
Mike
I got you confused.
Right. Used to be in Baltimore, went to the Michigan to become a D coordinator, came back there.
Mike McDonald had a job. I get it.
E-I-E-I-O, right. And on this job, he had to stop Tua, and he couldn't do it.
That could be a new song.
But either way, where I think he started to stress out was, first off, here's your problem with the Ravens. The Ravens don't have a pass rush. The Ravens, in my opinion, do not have a marquee defensive lineman. Not one of them. So even though we talk about the Dolphins O-line not being special yet, when they just rushed forward, they couldn't get close to Tua, which was concerning. And then he throws, like we talked about, a short pass to Waddle here and a short pass to Tyreek here, and they're catching the ball at 5 yards, but then turning upfield and getting 15 or 20 of it. And he's like, well, I don't know, what? I mean, this is too easy too. So I got to start disguising and doing a few things, help out my pass rush. And then I think that led to the shots downfield that ultimately, kind of killed them and hurt their football team.
So after those shots, those long touchdowns to Tyreek, 35-35. At that point, was the Ravens defense just completely lost? Like, did they not know what to do because they gave up another long drive?
100%. They didn't know what to do. And then they got caught in between with, like, let's go back to the four-man rush and just protect things. But then it started to get so easy, and they're moving the ball and start to get to the 30 and the 25 to where they start to go, okay, shit, we got to change it up because they're just going to go down the field and pick us apart here. One thing I questioned a little bit was why, to me, in a lot of these situations, two-man is always something I look at. I never saw any of snaps of that to where I go, okay, you got a body on everybody, but you still got two safeties deep. And even when you play two-man, you can see some really good defenses in football that play two-man, two safeties deep, maybe rush three, and have an extra guy in the middle just hovering in case there's some pick play or something like that happens.
They didn't do that.
They did not do that.
What
it was
did they do
zones.
Instead? All zone.
It was zones, or it was like all-out blitz maybe. And that just, that played right into the Dolphins' hands really ultimately when it was all said and done.
And you do think the top draft pick, Kyle Hamilton, struggled a little bit in this game?
Yeah, he did.
He didn't start, right?
He did not start. He looks the part. He's good. I mean, he is. But like I said, I do think the long one down the left sideline was his fault. The post route down the middle, right, to Tyreek, I'm not sold that was his fault. He's the safety on that side of the field. Marcus Peters is in an incredible position here where I think he's basically in a man-up situation. It looks like Hamilton is supposed to be the safety over the top to help him. But when the ball is snapped, he looks to the other side of the field. And this is kind of a new defense in football because how often do we talk about crossers in football? Crossers. Yeah. Teams are hitting crossers everywhere, right? Whether it's pick crossers, play action, okay, another crosser. So teams, what they're doing a lot in the NFL too, are playing these like, hey, our safety's back deep, but he's not really back deep. He's there to scare you from, hey, quarterback, I'm not going to have the post route. There's a deep safety there, right? Mm-hmm. But then he's really set hut looking for the crosser on the other side, right? He's looking to go, they're going to run like double crossers or something like that, and now I'm here to stop that. And, hopefully we scared them away with my presence to not throw the post route. And that's where I give Tua a little credit for staying with that play. I'm sure they had a pretty good feel that the Ravens do this from time to time and had a feel that this might happen. But that was a great job by him. And I don't want to blame that one on Hamilton because I'm not totally sure that he was at fault there.
Either way, it might be a situation where this year the Ravens offense will have a little pressure on them to score some more points. And from the looks of this game, they might be able to do that because the Dolphins defense we think is going to be pretty good, and they still put up a ton of points, 38 points on them. When you took a closer look at that side of the ball with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, what stood out to you about how they got that big lead?
Right.
Kind of stalled out in the second half, but they certainly built that lead up.
Well, It's one of the best games ever by Lamar, too.
Wow.
And to me, again, I'm going to sound like a hater here, but I don't care. Like, so Lamar is just special. I mean, he's really special. He made one bad decision late in the fourth quarter where Xavier Howard almost intercepted it. And I look at that and go, other than that, I mean, he was almost flawless, perfect. He really was. His throwing was on point. On point. Every ball that came out of his hand was pure. He throws from different arm angles. His decision-making was absolutely phenomenal against a really good defense and no running game.
Yeah.
See, this is to me where, again, this is where guys like, to me, like Lamar and Mahomes and Allen and, Herbert and, Joe Burrow, it's a different set of stardom. Rodgers compared to, okay, I know Tua had a great game and Hurts had a great game and all that. They play through them. It's all about them. Where the other guys go, wait, we have this great team and all this, and we're doing this, and we're going to make the game easy for you, blah, 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 and hopefully you can take advantage. Lamar, it's literally all on him. He is the run game, and then he is the pass game. And we're not sitting here going, oh, my gosh, the Ravens receivers and stuff, they're so awesome. Rashad Bateman looks really good. There's no doubt, and I think they got something there. And then at least Devin Duvernay is scary and has some speed. And then we know Andrews is a beast at tight end. But that's, to me, where it's special and is over. That's why we're talking about maybe they should just give him $230 million guaranteed, because it's all about him. And with them not being able to run the ball, it makes it even more about him. And there he was, of course, played phenomenal. And, the defense failed him. The
running game for them. That has been such a staple of what the Ravens have done here. Outside of even Lamar Jackson, he's been a big part of it.
Yep.
Going forward, is this just an early season struggle with the running game for the Ravens, or with their O-line, with their running backs, could this be a season-long problem?
They need to get healthy up front. I think that's the biggest thing. They need Ronnie Stanley back in there. I mean, they got they lost Juwan James last week. They got Patrick McCarry, so now that Morgan Moses is playing right tackle. Juwan James was there. Now they got Patrick McCarry, who's a center guard lifetime. He's playing left tackle, right? And then there's no J.K. Dobbins yet, who has 3 rockets up his ass, and he stresses you the out when he's on the field. And then we're missing, Edwards, who's kind of the sledgehammer. He's the, thunder to the lightning. So they don't have either of that. They have no running back that you worry about doing anything extra than, hey, there's 4 yards to gain, and they get 4 yards. So I think it's a little combination of both. I don't want to give up on it yet just because those guys are coming back, and it sounds like they're close. Ronnie Stanley sounds like he's close. But I do think here in the meantime, it's going to be more Lamar throwing the football and then winning with his right arm. And then let's just not forget about this. The fucking Dolphins are freaky on defense. They're freaky across the board. I mean, it's almost like watching the old Ravens. It's just they got size, speed, everything on that side of the ball, and they can basically do whatever they want. But the Ravens were ready for that all-out pressure and had answers, and Lamar was on his game.
A Landon Roberts for the Dolphins, one of those freaky guys that you might not know the name of. I wasn't that familiar with him.
From the Patriots back in the day.
4th and 1 play.
That was big.
He was crucial to it.
Crucial.
F up the play guy.
F up the play. Exactly right. Like, it's a point in the game where the Dolphins had the momentum, right? They hadn't really stopped the Ravens. The Ravens, here they go. They're moving again, and it becomes a 4th and 1, run. And he just reads the play and just goes, I'm going to go kamikaze. I know what play's coming. I'm going to run through that hole, and I don't care that guard's 315 pounds. I'm going to crush him and get crushed and just make a mess of things. And he did. And that, gave them the short field and then set up the touchdown once again. And, they just, between him and Van Ginkel and, guys like number 92, Seiler, who we don't know about, who's a really good player. And then you talk about my 2 big asses in the middle, and Raekwon and Christian Wilkins, who are stars, in my opinion, in big people world. They're stars. And then Phillips on the outside, you just go, oh, there's nothing they can't do on the defensive side of the ball. And, I thought maybe went a little too all out on the aggressiveness and worrying about the Lamar run game and all that.
Yeah.
I thought if I had to tell them one thing, like, hey, you guys are so good, you don't need to go this freaky out and like put this many people at the line of scrimmage. And maybe they'll learn their lesson. They're gonna have to adjust a little this week with who they're playing.
Well, we have a graphic on that for our Peacock and YouTube audience. Last thing we'll mention about this is, maybe they couldn't slow down even with all that talent. They could not slow down Lamar Jackson, and they blitzed quite a bit. You look back at when they did that in 2021.
Right.
Kind of held him in check.
Yeah.
Sacked him 4 times. This time, with their blitz on 55% of the dropbacks, no sacks, couple touchdowns given up.
Yeah. They were ready for that, all-out look, 100% for sure. And then I think the other thing is, sometimes blitz numbers can be skewed with Lamar Jackson because so many teams play 5-man fronts because they're worried about, the run, and we don't have enough people to do that, and it ends up being a 5-man pressure. But, that's something to, watch with them, that they don't go over-aggressive. They're too good to have to go over-aggressive all the time. This is not like a few years ago where they're trying to we're 1-7 and we got to make things happen and start winning games and play through our defense because our offense stinks, right?
Yeah.
This is like, no, you got enough offense now. You don't have to go totally crazy on defense. It'd be interesting to see if they adjust because they do got my boy Blue coming into town.
Exactly.
And they're going to be ready for all-out blitz. And, of course, he can throw the ball a country mile. So if they do that too much, they'll get their ass torn up.
So you would recommend they don't all-out blitz?
Not all-out. Be tactical with it. And I've seen from last year and even this year, they have ways to make it look like that, and then they drop out and do things, certainly. But, you got to be careful against these better quarterbacks that you don't take too many chances in those situations.
Ravens are at Foxborough taking on the New England Patriots this week, so
that'll be interesting.
They can slow them down. No team has been able to slow down the Ravens so far.
No.
Of course, it's just been the Jets, right?
Well, the Jets, yeah. And the Jets did a good job against the run game, too. It was Lamar's right arm doing it.
Yeah.
And now you got this week, hey, this Patriots defense is the real deal, Holyfield, too. They got big dudes. I have a hard time thinking the Ravens are going to run on them. And, of course, they're really well coached in the secondary to where, I think that game could be a nail-biter. I mean, you could be sitting there going, whoa, one of these teams is going to be 1-2 after 3 weeks.
From 2 teams that balled out on the offensive side of the ball to another team that balled out on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball on Monday. The Bills beating the Titans, crushing them 41-7.
Yep.
You've already said this is the best game of Tua's career. Might be the best game of Lamar's career. Where does this game rank in Josh Allen's career?
Well, he's had a lot of good ones.
He
has. So I'm not going to say it's the best, but my thought of after watching the game live and then watching on film did not change a lot. I know we did our podcast Monday, so we didn't get to react to this because being a Monday night football game, but he has gotten to a point where it's cheat code time. It's insane. It's cheat code time. It's like what I felt about Aaron Rodgers in 2010, 11, 12, 13, just going, if you're not a great defense, you can't stop this guy. You can't, because he makes all the right decisions mentally, right? He sees the field so incredibly well. And then, as we always discuss, when you do play the perfect defense, he's just like, oh, okay, there's nothing open. I'll buy a little more time, and something will come open here eventually 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds later, and then he makes it happen that way. And so that's where it's gotten just unbelievably scary. The way he sees the field, the decision-making, the pinpoint accuracy and high degree difficulty of throws, it's insanity. And I do think that he's, again, this is why I think he's the best quarterback in the game right now.
Obviously, it's easy to see those long touchdown passes to Diggs, but something that caught your eye
take me there,
was how quickly he got the ball to some of his receivers and gave him a chance to work.
No doubt. That's the other thing that's, impressive about him. Like we just talked about with Tua. First off, they do the RPO game too. Run the ball. If you just run the ball, and then put Stephon Diggs on a 5-yard out route. If you play off, he kind of just puts it out there like the run, and then he can just flick it out there so quick to like an Aaron Rodgers type of level. And then, of course, his arm's so strong that the ball is like, holy crap, you can barely see it on film. So he's amazing that way. And that stresses you out too, because now you're we're trying to stop the run and worry about that, and we don't want to live up the big play, but he loves throwing out routes. He's not scared to throw out routes. Out routes are a forgotten art form in the NFL. And they're not afraid to, and of course that stops you from playing a lot of off coverage because you just go, well, 5-yard out, 10-yard out. Holy cow, we can't play off forever. We got to do something else, and that's where he is, no question, really, really good. That was a definitely interesting thing about the game, that little part of it.
And then he can still beat you deep, as you saw against the Titans with Diggs deep, the play that's all over social media. You liked it, though, and taking a closer look at it for a different reason.
Yes.
You don't think all quarterbacks necessarily would have stayed on Diggs there.
Well, it was a little bit like the Tua post to Tyreek, right? This is an en vogue thing in the NFL right now because of the crosser thing, once again, I'm trying to tell you about. Teams are crossers followed by another in-cut or another crosser, or it might be a shallow crosser with a deep crosser and an in-cut, and you just go, like, damn, we need to get people in the middle of the field here to stop this, because there's just so many windows that a quarterback can hit one of those crossers in, right? So you play the single safety defense to make it look like, hey, the post route won't be there. You can't throw a post route. And, so the quarterback said hut. He goes, I don't think I have the post route. But then the safety is looking for crossers. And on this one, Byard, Kevin Byard, he takes the crosser underneath. They call it cutting the crossers in my world or football world. And, his ability to just stay with that and see it happen down the field and then let Diggs work, realizing that, hey, wait, this isn't really a 3-deep zone here. This guy's kind of cheating me, and staying with it and putting the ball on the money. And Diggs looks as good as he's looked, really ever in his career.
Talk about offense that's clicking on all cylinders, because obviously Allen and Diggs, they're in the running just enough to keep you honest.
That's right.
Think. So what are they doing with their formations, their mixing of personnel that could potentially be making it hard on defenses?
Yeah, I think they have a little experience with the Tennessee Titans. I think they have experience probably with that defense, similarities with New England and all of that. This was very interesting to me about the football game. Because McKenzie was healthy. Jamison Crowder are healthy. I know they had no Gabe Davis, right? And they're a team that generally likes to live in the 11 personnel world. 1 tight end, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers. But they played and I don't know if we ever got to the numbers on this, Pete. Maybe you can look it up real quick. If not, it's not a big deal, because I'm just going with I know this. They were playing 2 tight ends, 2 backs. 2 tight ends, 1 back, right? And playing personnel sets to where you go, oh, they look like they're going to play smash mouth football and do that. And then so I sit there and go that, and I go, okay, so why are they doing this? There's a reason they're doing this, and you sit there to watch, and you start to realize, oh, okay, here's what they're doing. You think, oh, maybe they want to keep the linebacker on the field and keep them in base defense, right? The Titans didn't do that. They were like, well, you still got Josh Allen. We're still scared of the pass to a degree. So they had nickel still in those situations, but what I do think it did is it simplifies their coverages. See, where Tennessee gets dangerous is when they get you in 2nd and long or 3rd down, obvious passing situations. They play coverages where, you've heard me describe this in the past. I don't know what the this coverage is. It's just everybody seems to be dropping right in the right area because they've broken you down, and they got this guy dropping here and this guy dropping there, and this guy's covering man-to-man, but they're playing zone over here. And that's where Vrabel and Shane Bowen are very creative on that side of the ball. I think with those personnel sets, it simplifies you. Because, again, what happens is a lot of times when you get into those personnel sets, teams do worry about, well, damn, if they put 2 tight ends over here on this side of the ball and all of that, or shift to a formation, I don't want to be outnumbered in the run game or leave a gap or 2 unaccounted for because we got some guy that's, looks like he's covering this guy and then going to turn his back and run to some other area and drop in the zone. So I think that's what it did to them. It took away all the crazy disguises and confusion to where it kind of got vanilla for a guy like Josh Allen. And now he's just going, okay, I got it covered 3. Oh, okay, 2-man. Oh, all right, blah, blah, blah. And he just slowly picked it apart. I would think that's the reason they did that.
So a lot of the problems for the Tennessee Titans were created by the Buffalo Bills. And did you think they were bigger out there? Is that what was in your notes at the end of your notes?
Well, they're just bigger in general, the Bills. The D-line has real size to hold up against people like the Titans now.
On both sides of the ball.
On both sides of the ball. The O-line, I don't sit here and go, oh, this O-line's just a road grading crew, but it's good enough and well-coached enough and big enough now to where seen games against teams like Titans in the past, or Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree and some of these guys. They push people back into Josh Allen's face all game long, and it make it hard on them. And we don't really care sometimes because we're like, oh, it's Josh Allen. He'll just throw and have people hanging on him, and he'll set off his back foot. But it messes the quarterback up and throws him out of rhythm. I haven't seen that happen too much here through the first 2 weeks.
All right, Doctor, this is the part of the pod where we diagnose what's wrong with the Titans, too.
Yeah.
So we look at their D and real quick on their offense, too. So D, you mentioned some of the problems. The Bills stressed them out, right? And the Bills are going to do that to a lot of teams out there. Is this just now they're 0-2.
I know. I got faith in the Titans still, though. I'm not giving up on them on the defensive side of the ball, for sure.
On the defense. It's interesting you made that distinction.
Well, we'll talk about the offense in a minute. I don't want to give it away. I'm not totally giving up on the offense either. All right, but I will qualify it when we get there. The defense, I'm not worried. It sucks that they don't have Harold Landry, especially in a year where they don't have A.J. Brown on the offensive side of the ball, because I think they were trying to, hey, we got to play through our defense. Harold Landry's a double-digit sack guy. Bud Dupree's capable of that. And Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best interior D linemen in all of football. So that does stink, but I do. They still have enough big people, pretty good linebacking core. I love their safeties. I mean, Hooker, Bayard, they had one of their corners out injured, so that hurt them a little bit. I think they'll get that straight.
Farley got beat a couple times.
Farley got benched because he didn't play man-to-man on that last touchdown before the half. He got confused, screwed up. To me, still doesn't look like the Farley that I saw at Virginia Tech, and I do worry if, having 3 major injuries here over the last 5 or 6 years has maybe slowed him down. He doesn't look as freaky to me right now. But, again, this is his first year playing again, so it might not be till next year that he looks like that freaky guy. Not going to overjudge it. But, yeah, they were outgunned. And, of course, playing the hottest quarterback and the best offense in football, and a guy in Ken Dorsey, too, that people I don't think have a great feel for how he's attacking yet. So that makes things hard on a guy like Mike Vrabel and Shane Bowen, too.
Defense will still give people trouble.
Yes.
Will the offense, though?
I don't know.
No A.J. Brown. Mm-hmm. Is Derrick Henry back to being Derrick Henry? I think the jury is still out on that. What'd you think from the offensive line? The offensive line has been a big, I think we've given a lot of credit to Tannehill being able to throw deep, A.J. Brown being able to make those plays, Derrick Henry. But
simple but effective formula they had in the last few years, right?
Can they do that?
I don't know. That's the one I'm not sure if this is going to work quite the same. One, the offensive line is not as physically imposing as it was there, last year, the year before. So I think that does hurt them. I mean, there's too many plays in that game where set Hutt and the Titans' offensive line is 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, right? So you just go, damn. And then, I got a lot of respect for that Bills D line, but they're not used to seeing the Titans O line get pushed like that, right? So that's one issue. And then, I think when you couple that with there's no game breaker other than Derrick Henry on the offense right now. There's no other guy to look at and go, all right, who's going to scare you? I mean, Burke, I like him, but he hasn't got to that level yet. All right. Robert Woods has never really been that guy. Robert Woods is the great compliment, number 2 receiver, going to catch a lot of 10 and 15-yard routes that way. So that's where I get worried about it. Pete asked me, and I think you saw it in the group text last night, he's asked me about, what about Tannehill and Derrick Henry? You didn't write anything. Did they look the same? Is there things? If I was really concerned about them, I would have wrote that in my notes. Derrick Henry still looks very effective. Derrick Henry needs a little bit gather up, speed up time. Louis Riddick, I thought, did a great job of explaining this during the telecast. He's a runner that needs to get downhill. He's not a runner that, gets the ball and now has to stop and jump cut, and then get upfield. That's not who he is. He is, hey, I got the ball. I'm stretching towards the sideline. I'm kind of going 70%. Oh, I see a hole. Now I go downhill in such a manner where you go, oh, my gosh, this big is coming down at such a rate. This is scary. And then he can kind of wiggle his hips and get out of the way and get arm tackles or run you over. But if he doesn't have the space to do that, he's not going to be the Derrick Henry we have been accustomed to and love to watch.
If you're a betting man, which we'll force you to do coming up tomorrow, will they get that going against Las Vegas?
I do think they have a chance to get it going against this group. because I don't think Las Vegas is, other than the 2 rushers on the edge, I don't think they're all that great interior-wise, to where I think there's an opportunity for them to get this going here. They got to get that going to a degree. And again, even with Tannehill, I don't look at Tannehill and go, oh, man, there's issues. I know, he had the second interception, the pick 6, that was horrible. First interception, hey, they're reeling. He's got to start pushing the issue a little bit. The running game's not working. And who was that? Tremaine Edmonds did a great job, who's a freak in nature, just kind of getting his hand on it. He gets his hand on it. The receiver he touches his hand, tips up in the air, Jordan Poyer interception. Little unlucky, great play by the defense. It's going to happen, But, like, Tannehill, like I said, I don't look at Tannehill. I know he's not a world beater superstar, but I don't look at him as the problem.
Yeah.
Again, and let's not forget, I mean, they had some chances. He made some throws in the game where you go, okay, here they go, and then it was a penalty or they messed something up. But I still think he's perfectly capable. It's not Malik Willis time. It's not time to panic yet, in my opinion, in Tennessee. We've seen them start off slow before and get it going, and they're very well coached. And I think that I just have too much faith in Vrabel that he'll kind of get it going and find the right formula for them all together. But then, Lawan got hurt early in the game.
Yeah.
And not the game you want to get anybody hurt against this group. And they're playing rookies and smaller guys, and it was a bad night.
So let's finish this game with that, because you've already gushed about the Bills on offense. And so defensively, statistically, in a lot of categories, they were pretty good last year. But you said they beat up on the bad teams.
Right.
Some of the good teams they struggled with.
Right.
Do you think this is a completely different defense than last year?
Yes, I do. They don't have to put Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds up in the A-gap or give these crazy looks anymore just to create confusion with the line to help their D-line. Now, those two can go off the ball and just go get the guy that's got the ball. They don't have to go like, I got to be a de facto defensive tackle and then take on a guard and then get off them and run to the sideline. And like some of what they were asked to do at times was like, I don't know, Superman would have a hard time doing some of that. So so where now
How dare you?
I know. So Man of Steel.
Yeah.
But that's where, yes, they are different. They can rely on their big people even without Ed Oliver playing the other night. Didn't matter. No Tim Settle. Jordan Phillips, another guy that needs to be in the discussion of like, you said before the year, big guys that don't get credit. He's another guy you can put on one of the best muck it up, clog it up guys in football.
2 weeks in a row.
He stood out. He stands out. And then Rousseau is got his game going, is a big physical guy on the edge. And Von Miller, even though everybody talks about his sacks and all that, has always been phenomenal against the run. So, yes, with that, they're very good. And then their scheme doesn't let you breathe. That's where Leslie Frazier and McDermott are awesome. They go, hey, wait, we know we're good here, but we're going to play a defense too where it's like we think the best you're going to do is get 2 yards here. You're going to get 2 yards. And you sometimes go, oh, man, they motioned over here, and, whoa, this backside corner he's in a vulnerable position here. Uh-oh. And, like, the safety goes over the top of them, and you're going, okay, wait, it's cover 2. But if this receiver does an inside release and runs a post route across, they got nothing there. But then, like, as the motion goes across and the safety goes to help them, the corner moves inside. They know where they're vulnerable a lot of the times when they play these crazy aggressive defenses, which I love too. Yeah, and they're extremely well coached.
So they can be aggressive but still not vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. It's tactically aggressive, and it's one of the better coached defenses in football. My thing with them last year is it was all about the coaching, and I didn't think they had enough horses to help it out against it. Now they got the horses, and they got the tactical stuff to really stress you out.
I think we have a graphic on the pressure that they put on teams or the amount of pressure they brought last year versus this year. So last 2 seasons, if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock right here, sack rate, they've bumped it up. It was 7% last year, 12% this year. They're pressuring quarterbacks 51%. But their blitz rate has fallen from 25% to 6%.
I love when Pete backs me up with my notes. Thank you.
That's insane.
It is insane. So that tells you.
They're getting the results without blitzing.
They don't have to have Tremaine Edmonds, blitz up the A-gap to make sure one guy can maybe get pressure and beat their guy on the pass rush. They can now just go, wait, hey, you big freak middle linebacker, play the middle, be long, tip a pass, intercept it. They're a different animal. They're not just going to feast on the poor this year. They're going to feast on the rich a little too.
Is Tua going to need to throw 6 more touchdowns this week to beat him?
No, but I am so excited for that game. To me, that's the game of the week. Not only because they're two of the best rosters in the game. It's 4 coaches, right? Coordinators, head coach, coordinators, whatever, that are very good game planners, thinkers. Like, oh, if they do this, I got to do that. Wait, they might think I'm doing this, so I got to think I might do that. What was the phrase you used last week in the podcast? And
you know that I know that you know.
Right,
yeah.
right. Like, there's going to be a lot of that going on in this game.
Yeah. They're just going to have to play 5 guys on the field. Be like, I never would have thought that. Exactly. You thought we were playing 11. We knew that you knew that. I'm not feeling bad for you all of a sudden because you got to see these great offenses so far. Yeah, you took some time to look at the film, but our next game we're going into is Chiefs and Chargers. A closer look here. We know this game was a little while ago, but these are hidden treasures that were lying dormant in that film that are now being uncovered for the first time.
Exactly.
And so we get to really see what did happen in that game. And I mean, it wasn't a prolific high-scoring game. Like, they didn't score 40.
No.
Either of these teams.
No.
It was 27-24. And so what can we learn from diving deep into those tapes? Let's start with the Chiefs offense here.
Okay.
And Patrick Mahomes, because for a good part of this game, I was like, man, this Chargers defense is really giving them some trouble.
Issues, right?
Yeah, some issues.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that was self-inflicted or how much was not, but by taking a closer look at the tape, what do you think?
Well, this is something I said on the podcast with Florio last Thursday. This is what happens when you have a team that's great in the division for a while. Another team in the division goes, we're just going to build ourselves to beat that team, right? And that's what the Chargers are built to beat the Chiefs. Right, it's like the early '90 Cowboys. They were like, we got to beat the Washington and the Giants and the Eagles. If we don't get big up front and like start doing some of this stuff, like we're not going to beat any of these teams. We can't block Reggie White or Lawrence Taylor or anybody. Like we got to start doing something different here. It changes your way of thinking that way. So they are built for this, and then have the defensive coach on the other side that can make life hard on them. Definitely. So, I think my main thing was, built for it and really outplayed the Chiefs. They were the better team on the field. I really do feel like that. They just messed up a few situations and maybe got a hair too aggressive here or there. And then you just got the magic man who just like, oh, they gave me a chance to make a play, and I always make the play. I'm Patty Mahomes. I never miss the chance to make the play. And that's where he's just special because he could be like, incomplete. Oh, it doesn't look that good. And then all of a sudden you go, whoa, he just threw a pass between 2 people, and he like threw a shovel pass, but somehow it still spiraled, or he threw a deep post and like both feet were off the ground and he threw it on the money for 50 yards. Like, who does that? That's where they're special. They thrive on that, and they love that, and that's where they're a special football team.
So it's interesting you say the Chargers D, for the most part, outplayed the Chiefs O.
Yes.
But they gave up some big plays. You just described the Bills' defense and saying that they're aggressive but not vulnerable.
Right.
Are the Chargers able to pull off that balance?
I think they will be. I think they might have gone a little too far in this game, right? Where, here, again, I'm putting myself in their shoes. They got to be thinking about their last matchup last year, where I think Mahomes went like 31 of 45 and threw for 400, mid 400s, right? And remember, that was a time where, if you take big plays away, he's not patient, right? And he was showing a little patience, I believe, the week before that. And that game, he was very patient and just picked them apart and did whatever he wanted. Oh, wait, great. You took away the deep play, but it was just like, hey, underneath the Hill, underneath the Kelsey, underneath to this guy, underneath to this guy. And they just died a slow death. Like, it just was like, okay, you took away the big play, but every drive is 11 plays, 80 yards for a touchdown right now. We need to change it up a little. So I think he looked, Staley probably looked at that and said, okay, we can't do that. Mahomes has evolved here. And he knows what to expect, and he's probably expecting that. So, they did take some chances here and there, played some man-to-man, took some chances that way, right? I have no problem with that. But I think there was some times where maybe it just went a hair too far. And the 50-yard touchdown down the middle, or 45, whatever it was, 41, that was one that, I would say, ooh, that might have been, you don't need to do that anymore. You guys are so talented on this side of the ball. We don't need to have no safety in the middle of the field versus Patrick Mahomes. That's just living a little too dangerously.
How about the way they guarded Travis Kelce? What was their plan for that? How may it have been different than what they've done in the past?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I think, Kelsey, they got linebackers and a Derwin James who are, of course, very good there. They are very always aware of, like, and this is where they were good too, where, I'm to my point, they weren't just playing umbrella, we're going to stop the post route. They had a thing where, hey, if he breaks in, we kind of got a guy sitting there just reading Mahomes' eyes, waiting for him to come in. And if he breaks out, there's a guy there too. Like, he's not just going to catch the ball and turn up the field and be 15 yards down the field free, right? So there was definitely a plan of attack there. On the deep touchdown pass, right, I was watching the play thinking, like, hey, it looks like it might be one of those cover 3 plays we just talked about with the Bills or the Ravens where there's a safety in the middle of the field, but he's not really playing middle of the field safety. And then I watched it back again, and I was like, oh, wait, no, this is an all-out pressure look where this middle of the field safety doubled Travis Kelce. So there was nobody down in the middle of the field. They weren't going to let him on a third down do that to them where he ran one of those, in routes and then comes back out or runs out and then comes back in. They've seen enough of that in their life. So they said, the hell with that. And they took a chance there to where I just go, that's too much of a chance. Yeah. Play man-to-man and have an extra guy in the middle waiting for him or something, but don't take the safety out of the middle of the field. Mahomes is always looking for that. He can't wait. He is the ultimate, oh, gosh, I got a chance for a big play finally. I'm going to do it. He's always looking for it, and, of course, he found it, and it's just an incredible throw. It really was.
Kelce did lead the team in receptions with 51 yards. That's crazy to lead the Chiefs.
That's what I mean. There was a plan there. There was not the umbrella, just let him throw it underneath and do that kind of crap.
And they ran the ball effectively in this game. Of course, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had that 52-yard run, but you thought that they ran it so well that it could have opened up more things with the play action.
I do. I wish they would tie, like, early in the game they run it well, and I'm just sitting there going, okay, so where's the pass off of that? Okay, hope in the next series. Okay, those runs were great. They saw that had to scare them on the sidelines. Hey, when they run that, we got to worry about, like, that to me is where they just missed out a little bit, where I'd go, I wish they just would tie plays together a little bit more. And it would make them dangerous, and they, like we said, I think they do thrive on the big play and want that to happen to where, I think that's some of your best opportunities. I wish there was just a little bit more of that from them altogether.
Before we flip it to the other side of the ball with the Chargers O and Chiefs defense, overall, though, you feel like this is, I kind of get the sense, you walked away looking at that. Mahomes is Mahomes. Chiefs are going to get people open. They're going to score their points. But the biggest difference is the Chargers D, they have the ability to be more special than they were last year.
Definitely. I think it's real. To me, the next phase is like in these big games, got to find a way to make a few plays. It's the Chiefs thrive in this. They thrive in these environments. We know that. They love the big lights and putting on a show. They're showmen. That's why they're fun to watch. That's why we love it. But you said it right, and I think I came away after the game going, okay, the Chargers can win the Super Bowl. That's what I know it's week 2, and I know that's like a really bold, but I just came away going, man, they look good. They have everything.
My pick to win the Super Bowl.
Right, you're right. It's not that bold. I just I kind of sold me like, okay, they definitely have a chance to be one of the elite teams in football this year.
And that's not even talking about the offense quite yet.
But I love that they changed it up on defense. Yes. I do. It just was a hair too aggressive.
Yeah.
And Mahomes and Andy could not get in a rhythm to get to some of their bread and butter plays because they just didn't know what to expect. I just thought it was a hair aggressive here and there.
How about the Chargers offense? Aggressiveness. And let's just start actually with the offensive line because they're going to be throwing quite a bit. They're going to be throwing to the running backs. Austin Eckler, even though they handed it off 14 times for only 39 yards to Eckler in the game, a lot of it starts with the offensive line. How'd they look?
They're amazing in the pass game. Amazing. They are, I think, got something like where it's going to be hard for any front four to get there and pressure Justin Herbert on a consistent basis. You're going to have to do some things. Chris Jones got there a few times, right? But that was it. And even he had a bunch of plays where you went, I've never seen Chris Jones get stalemated like that. Like, he couldn't, like, so it's real. When you just talk about, hey, Corey Linsley at center, still really awesome. Filer at guard is a beast. first-round pick from Boston College, Zion Johnson, beast. We know left tackle Rashawn Slater is already one of the best pass-protecting left tackles in football. And then the question was the right tackle, and Trey Pipkins, who got hurt during the game at third quarter or so, he's done really good. So that's where they're going to be a handful for whoever plays.
And the Chiefs, were they trying to make it hard on them too? They have some different looks that they can use, but that didn't affect the Chargers at all.
It doesn't. It doesn't affect the Chargers. The Chargers are, I don't even know how to put this. They're very well coached on the offensive side of the ball. They really are. They know what they're doing, why they're doing it, where to look against this coverage. He knows where to go to the ball. The guys know how to run the right routes with their plays. So they're never off kilter that way. My problem is it's just a little too much of that. It's too much of, 48 throws for 334 yards. There's too many stat lines like that over the last 2 years for Justin Herbert. 40 completions for 290 yards. And he got the best arm in football. He's up there with the Allens and the Mahomes and the Rodgers and all those guys. And it's just, there's not enough creativity, game plan specific plays. They don't need a ton because the system's good. It's tried and true. But they need to find a way or two to dial up some plays to scare the defense, back them off, make some plays. So not everything has to be 11 plays, 75 yards, 11 plays, 67 yards, 9 plays, 73 yards. That's maybe my one complaint about the Chargers on that side of the ball.
You got the quarterback with the arm that can do that.
Exactly.
So.
That's where it's a little frustrating. You just want to go like, hey, you don't need to be Reed and Mahomes where just people are going deep too much, but you got to have a little something there. And yeah, there's some times where I think they get in formations, and a good coach like, Spagnuolo, he's, okay, I kind of know what they're going to do here, and my guys have been taught that if this slot receiver goes here, that means the outside receiver is going to go here, and they know that, and it's just, I'd like to see them create that a little bit for themselves.
The one game-changing play, this game could have been completely different without the pick six that went back, 99 yards or about that?
Yeah.
Well, you took a closer look at that. I think it's been well documented. Everett was trying to get out of the game, and they're like, "I'm tired." No, you
hell of
stay
a play before, right?
Yeah, great play before, and then Herbert threw his way. Is that basically what happened? Anything that you learned from closer examination?
Right. They ran like 200 jet sticky, 200 jet double stick, right? So here, just to explain that, like you basically got two receivers to the right. Everett was one of them. They're kind of like in a stacked alignment, right? Same thing to the left. And then the back is going to go through the middle of the field and just check through to be a middle of the field presence in case nothing's open. But basically, those two receivers to the right, two receivers to the left, they're going to run the same play. It's the same route system. Somebody's going to go to the flat, and then somebody's going to go on like a 5-yard out. If they get a zone, they kind of just curl it up, right, instead of running out, right? And so you don't run into the zone guy out there and get your head knocked off, right? So that's what they did. Everett ran like tired, like you said, ran a real shitty flat route. It was almost like, wait, is he running? He almost ran an in-between. I'm not even sure if he knew which one he was supposed to do. He's like, I don't know if I'm the flat or the out route, the 5-yard out route, so I'll run kind of an in-between route. He was like, I didn't run to the flat. I didn't run the out. I kind of ran an in-betweener, right? He's looking at Palmer, who's running the out route, who sits up and curls up because he's going to box somebody out. It's too tight. So Herbert's eyes go to Everett, and he let his mistake come, and one mistake became two mistakes. I don't know why he threw it to him. One, to just go, wait, he's not in the flat. He should be out there. He's sitting there, and just as he was getting ready to throw, Everett, who I don't know what he was. I want to say I know what he's doing. But sitting there, and he's like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be in the flat. So he kind of stopped, and then he started to move again. And just as he started to move, the ball got there. And the rest is history. Yep. And that's just an unfortunate little part there where, again, Everett's going to get the minus in the grading film. So is Herbert, though. Herbert's going to get it, too. They're going to go, hey, don't let his mistake, become your mistake, too. And I think he knows better to not throw that ball, and hopefully, he'll learn from that for sure.
Chargers going to get to go against the Jaguars next time in that defense. We're going to talk about here in a second. The Chiefs are at Indianapolis, who we'll also talk about in a second. But next we're going to the other Monday Night Football game, Eagles against the Vikings.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be more competitive than this. I was really hoping for that. Another quarterback that has sometimes been lower on Chris Sims' top 40 back countdown list than their fan base would hope. Jalen Hurts. What'd they do early on with Jalen Hurts? Because it seems like this is a team that's going to go through the run game and then make it easy on Jalen Hurts. They're not going to put a whole lot on his plate. Is that what you saw from watching film?
No. You can tell they have confidence in Jalen Hurts. Think about how the game opened up. They started out an empty personnel, empty 5 wides, and they were like, hey, we're going to throw it. It's what I love about them. They're really well coached, game plan that way. Like everybody expects them, it's the Eagles, that line, they're going to run the ball. And then they get you in a situation where, okay, whoa, they're spreading us out, and they got speed at receiver and stuff. And then, of course, he can run and scramble, and it makes it scary. And he's a good decision maker, And so that's where the game started out. So they get in 5 wides, I think, for the first 2 plays. And then they get you in the spread formation with a back in the backfield. And that's where they started to they make it very hard on you that way. That's what I kind of love about them. They're playing to what they are as a team. And they put pressure on you that way because now you go, wait, he's in the shotgun. It's a passing formation. We want to play 2 deep, but then they run the ball or he runs some quarterback design run, and you go, damn, we don't have enough people to stop it. And then you come back down and start to go, okay, well, now we got to do something else to kind of stop the run. And then you go, shit, Davante Smith and A.J. Brown are one-on-one we're in very vulnerable looks, and we're the Vikings, and we're not very good in the secondary. And so that's where they put stress on you, and he's smart that way and making the appropriate throws and doing everything the right way really right now and playing really good football.
26 of 31, 333 yards through the air for Jalen Hurts. Any of those completions, were they really taking chances, putting it into tight windows?
He had a few, which I like to see. I do.
Enough for you.
Enough for me.
Okay.
No. No, I'm not going to talk. Just like Tua a little bit here, all right, where, like I tried to explain before, and I know I'm going to, but I'm just trying to give my honest opinion here. There's still a few plays and throws where I look at he's got to throw that ball there. That guy's open. He gets away with it and runs and gets 10, 15 yards. But again, what I'm holding them to a standard, is that going to get it done against the 49ers defense or, the Bucks again and stuff like that? And I go, no, that's not. It's not. So, but still, it's better than it has been, and it's going in the right direction. And what I've tried to explain to some of my Philly fans, friends who, give me issues because they even listen to my Monday podcast, we got to have a talk. I go, listen, it's going to look awesome for most of the year. Now, I don't doubt that. They're a great team. They're really well coached. And he's got a great feel. And he knows how to run and when to run. And he doesn't, force the ball. And he doesn't have to a lot of the times, And that's fine. That's good. But again, I'm holding it to a standard of when they play the really good teams late in the year or in the playoffs, what's he going to do then? And that's where I just question it a little bit. He's an NFL starting quarterback. There's no doubt about that forever. I think the thing I'm just saying is I'm not sure how good he is yet. Just not sure how good. And I am one, too, that you've heard me say this before. We've yet to still see a quarterback really get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl where it's all about, hey, they're just going to run the ball with the running quarterback and run and do all that. Because you're going to usually play a defense in the divisional championship game, Super Bowl, that's going to stop that. And now it comes down to throwing the ball in the pocket. Mm-hmm. And that's where I just said I'd still like to see a little bit more, but it's all going in the right direction.
53-yard touchdown to Quez Watkins. Who do you give the credit or blame to on that?
Well, that was a really great design play, great throw, and a play to really stress that they were kind of playing a quarters coverage. So it's quarters, the safety in the corner, but now they have a tight split. So they have 2 tight ends on the end of the line of scrimmage, and then they bring down Quez Watkins even tighter. So, just think about it. You're the safety in the corner. You're going, wait, there's 3 guys there, and he kind of runs in between the middle of you, and you're like, whoa, I don't know which one of us has got him. And then one of those tight ends runs like a 10 or 12-yard out route. the corner plays it the right way. He sees it. He starts to stop. The safety was wrong. The safety's got to keep going back. Unless they're playing some way where the safety's supposed to drive on that out route and the corner is supposed to get back there, but I find that highly unlikely with that said. That's one where the safety's got to get back. That was his issue, and it was a really nice throw by Jalen Hurts.
Well, that might be a problem for the Vikings because you noticed that it wasn't like they were trying to do too many complicated things in this game.
No.
What did you notice about that side of the ball for the Vikings?
Well, it's just too, you've heard me say, it was too simple. It was too easy. They were too worried about giving up the big play, and it just was like, okay, well, I mean, you're just going to bend and break here every drive. And to me, where they put you in a bind because now you play these two deep safeties. They have a ton of passes and plays to just go, oh, you do that. We have a great way to throw 5 yard over the middle here, 5 yard over here, so they can pick you apart. And that's really good. But then also within that, that's where like their RPO game and their read option and that stresses you. Now there's two safeties deep. So what do we do here? Well, now they ran the ball. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Oh, they quarterback run. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. It's too deep. Or you try to cheat a slot guy and he fakes the run and the guy in the slot kind of makes it look like he's going to get blocked, and then somebody goes out in the flat and he throws it to the flat route, right? So they put you in a lot of binds that way. I don't think you can play too much too deep zone against them is what I'm basically saying. And that's where I just thought they were wrong. Third quarter, they finally changed it up. Started running some different coverages, blitzing the nickel guy off the edge. But it was so vanilla that Shane Steichen, Sirianni, and Hurts they were gashing it. To me, you got to do something where it's, exotic coverages, three deeps that way to help your run game, help the screen game, because they're a phenomenal screen team too. And then it takes away within those three deep coverages or singles. It takes away some of the holes in the middle of the field. And now, to me, you put it back on Jalen Hurts to, okay, he's going to have to make some throws here. And that's how I would try to defend him, without getting too detailed here and too in the weeds.
That's interesting. I wonder if the Vikings played the same way last week and worked against Aaron Rodgers, and they figured, why not?
They might have. Maybe. But this is just this is a team and an offense that's on a different level than Green Bay, in my opinion. Better O-line, better weapons, and then the quarterback design run stuff, how they use that puts you in another stress position. And their offensive scheme's better than Green Bay. That's the other thing I would tell you, too. They're creative. They have game plan-specific stuff. And like I said, between the quarterback design run, the run game, him being a good deep ball thrower, and them being an unbelievable screen team, man, does that put a lot of pressure on your football team. It really does.
Puts pressure to score some points, which the Vikings did not do in this game. Was that a function of the big dudes up front for the Eagles making life hard? Didn't make it hard on my Detroit Lions last week.
Well,
I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, we talked about them being too predictable against your Lions last week, remember? Where I think the Lions finally got into it and we're like, wait, we know what front they're going to be in when we get in this formation. We can call the perfect run play. I don't care how big their guys are. They can't stop this right here. Well, they changed it up a little bit more in this game. I did like to see that. It wasn't crazy. And they did get into I like big butts and I cannot lie formation, which was awesome. I mean, second drive of the game, here it was. Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Hargrave. And you just go, good luck. And that's where I think Minnesota, who, pushed around Green Bay a little last week, I think they thought they were going to be able to run the ball. And it was like, no, negative Ghost Rider. You will not be running the ball against this crew right here. And
no, they did. Kirk Cousins led the team 20 yards rushing.
Yeah, right. Big Kirk Cousins. That's what you want. You want him leading the team in rushing.
That's crazy.
And, that was the issue, no doubt, let alone, Cousins not playing all that well, didn't have an all-out blitz plan. Jefferson f***ing him over on the post route on the interception going down there into the end zone. And then, getting the ball in the short field again after the blocked field goal. And Cousins forcing a ball into coverage that gets intercepted by Darius Slay. Or I don't think that was Darius Slay. That was somebody else that time. That would have been Maddox that time. Because Darius Slay was the first and third interception. Right. But, they had some opportunities to kind of climb back into the game and didn't take advantage of it that way. But either way, it was a good showing, and at no point did you think the Eagles didn't have control of the game.
Eagles are a favorite at Washington. That could be That could be one of your best bets of the week, right there, 6.5.
We'll see.
Kinda
Well,
like what the Eagles are doing.
I'll just say if you want to look forward to that a little bit, what would scare me a little there is the Washington pass offense has something, and you play too simple against that. That could get scary.
Ooh.
That could get, again, I'm not trying to pick a game or anything like that, but I know you always want me to look forward a little bit.
Yeah.
That's something that jumps out to me. If they're going to play that simple, then that D-line better dominate, and they do have a chance to do that against the Washington offensive line, so we'll see.
And the Vikings are favored by 6 versus my Lions. That's an easy bet. Lions crush them. I'm going to pick them to win outright right there. Bet MGM, speaking of odds, the NFC Champion Odds are changing by the week. Of course they are. The Eagles now have the second best odds to win the NFC. So the Bucs are still the favorite. Last week, the Bucs were plus 275. Currently, they're plus 275. But the Eagles have gone from plus 600 to plus 450. So the Packers were ahead of them last week, and now they have jumped the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, the Packers, yep, you're right. Packers were ahead. I guess
just the Packers.
Just the Packers.
Okay, they were ahead of the Rams even after last week, but that was after a loss.
I feel like
the
public's catching up finally. Just like something we've been saying for the last month, and I think a lot of football people who are in the weeds have been saying this. And I even heard Troy Aikman during the game or after the game in the little thing on SportsCenter where they're like, "You surprised by the Eagles and the way they look?" And he was like, "No, if you've been paying attention, this is." I think a lot of people that have been paying attention to the sport thought this was coming here. This, and I think the public is finally realizing it too. And then you see Jalen Hurts play good in 2 games, and you jump on that. So, hey, I picked him to be the number 1 seed. That's the way I looked at it. And I look at it and just go, there ain't many teams they're going to play. They're going to be better than them the first 10, 12 weeks of the year. They could really, I think they have Green Bay in week 13 to where I sit there and go, they could be going into Green Bay 10-2 or 9-2, whatever week it was, 1 loss, whatever. But to me, I do look at that. The one I will throw up there for our BetMGM NFC Championship odds is don't sleep on the 49ers.
Plus 900 right now.
Yeah.
They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on that at all. Yeah, you see a plus 900. I do think in a lot of ways the Jimmy Garoppolo thing could be a blessing in disguise. They're still a really good team, and they'll get better as the year goes along here.
Eagles were plus 1,800 at points in the offseason. Then got A.J. Brown, had a pretty good draft, and now you see what they can be. A couple more games to get you here real quick. Let's go through. Actually, it's just, 2 more. Cardinals and Raiders, a closer look here. Buried treasure, hidden gems. Our costumes are on. If you're not watching, just imagine us with the helmet on, with the light and all that stuff.
Oh, we're one of those treasure guys?
I don't know.
I pictured myself more like Indiana Jones, with like a cool hat and like
a
satchel,
yeah.
Right? And like I got a whip in my pocket
and
like things like that.
Well,
have you ever seen Indiana Jones?
I have seen that.
Okay, thank you.
I did like those growing up.
Okay,
I have
good.
seen those movies. So you can imagine us however you want to imagine us if you're listening to this podcast right now.
You could be Nicolas Cage because he has National Treasures.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Oh, that's
that
a
one
good
I
one
didn't
too.
see.
And then I'll be Harrison Ford.
Okay,
right?
Deal.
Cool.
Seems like you're the cooler one.
Yeah,
But
it does seem that way.
Cardinals offense here versus the Raiders. So talking about all those odds, I think at points on Sunday, you might have been able to make a bet that the Cardinals were going to be the worst team in the NFC. They just hadn't gotten anything going, even with Kyler Murray. But then that all turned around late in the game, second half. But I thought it was interesting in reading your notes.
Yeah, please take me where you want to go here.
Even with the Raiders up 20-0, you don't feel like it was a dominant 20-0.
It was a lot of work. It was gutsy, tough play, good play calling in the first half by Derek Carr and company, and some stupid play calling by the Cardinals offense and company to where they couldn't get in rhythm or anything and that way. But it wasn't like I came away after the first half going, whoa, man, the Cardinals are just getting gashed and I don't know what they're going to do when they look so horrible. I hope I emphasize that every drive for points was like, woo, way to go, Derek Carr. Ooh, he was under pressure. He threw the ball into a tight window. Ooh, that was, hey, the Cardinals' coverage wasn't that bad there. That was just a good throw, and McDaniels taught him how to run that route the right way, and they got it in there. At no point did I just go, this is an onslaught. This is an ass-whooping. It was kind of just like I think I explained it that way. It was tough, gritty, and the Cardinals not kind of playing their best or maybe playing the way they should, and it made it a little misleading at 20-0.
So when they were down 20-0, they had to kick it into gear. They had to become who you think they should be all the time. And I think if for someone that didn't watch the film, it seems like, well, Kyler just did some crazy things out there.
Right.
Were there also some things that Cliff was able to do to put him in position that maybe they hadn't done in the first half?
Definitely. That to me was the theme of the game. Like Cliff made a comment yesterday in his press conference talking to the media about Kyler and just going, I wish he would just take over like that all the time earlier in the game. And what I talked about on PFT with Florio this morning, I was like, you got to put him in the position to where he can take over. You're getting in 2 tight end sets and pulling a guard. Like, hey, I've always said they needed I've gone in the years where I've gone, they need a little more versatility in their offense. I've given up on that. I've given up. They're not capable. They're not. And they're never going to be a good running team that can, like, block people, block down, guard pulls and smashes the defensive end, and they run for 8 yards. Like, they're not doing that. That's not in their DNA. It's not in their coach's DNA. It's not happening. And they were in that kind of crap way too much early in the game. You know, like, these sets and, like, plays where I just go, this is not who you are. It got down to 20-0, and they drove down, I think, one time first and got stopped when they were down there. But that's when it changed, where just be Texas Tech, be Oklahoma. That's what you're built to be. Let's stop pretending anymore. Just have an onslaught of spread the field, right? Just like we were talking with Jalen Hurts. When they spread the field and then this guy's ability to run, it really puts you in a tough spot. And, hey, they're spreading the field and they're playing too deep, and then all of a sudden they run a quarterback draw or quarterback design run, or he runs the option to the right and he can pitch it to somebody. The game changed. All of a sudden, the defense coordinator of the Raiders was like, uh-oh, my circuit broke. Uh-oh, I can't play too deep and do this anymore. And now he has to start playing coverages that are good for the pass game look. You know me, I never am in love with how creative their pass game is, but when they get you in those situations and play, simple defenses, those pass plays are going to work, right? And to me, that's where the game went haywire. Quarterback draw, option, 4 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Throw the ball. You got people crossing everywhere. 4 receivers, 1 to the left. We just ran that play. Now there's a screen play off of it. That's who they are. And that's what I know from talking to defensive coaches in football. That's what scares everybody about them. Not when they get in 2 tight end sets and try to pull the guard. Everyone's going, oh, thank God they're doing that. Everyone's scared of them when it's 4 wides, field spread. I got to worry about containing Kyler or a quarterback run and all that, and it becomes then very tough to defend the Cardinals.
And then the million-dollar question is, on the other side of the ball. I was going to finish that. I actually was saying they got tired out then. They got the Raiders defense got tired out.
No, that's the other effect of that, what we're talking about. Right. Because then the Cardinals get a few first downs and they start going to their no huddle thing and let's start putting it on it.
Yeah.
And you're chasing this crazy running all over the field. I mean, you're gassed. You could see it on film where it's like it's wearing them out a little bit. And yeah, I think it's something that they got to look at. Stop pretending. Spread the field. Have a million screens.
Yeah.
You're paying Kyler Murray a ton of money, millions and millions. You got to run him a little bit. That's who you are. That's why you drafted him. Do that. He is phenomenal at protecting himself, so I don't think you have to worry. And when they run him, I'm not talking about like Josh Allen pulled a guard and he's running between the tackles, right? It's get on the edge, or it's a quarterback draw, or things like that. And he's very good at staying out of harm's way. But yeah, I mean, I hope you got that sense from my notes that that's where they should go.
And they really ran very few plays early on in the game, too. They really couldn't get into a rhythm there. And then they did get into a rhythm, tired out the Raiders on the defensive side. And then it leads to the million-dollar question that I almost jumped the gun and giving that question away for free.
Gosh.
How they stopped Davante Adams on the other side of the ball here.
Right.
Davante Adams comes into this game. After week 1, it's like, oh, my gosh, this is just like Rodgers and Adams. Same thing over there. They're going to get 10 catches a game, 150 yards every game. 2 catches for 12 yards.
Yes.
How'd they do that?
They did it, by just really basically having a safety, being very aware of what he was at all the time. They never left him in a position where it's like, oh, it's just you versus our guy. And McDaniel's going to be able to draw up a play like we talked about last week where, he's one-on-one, and he's going to tell you the route that's going to screw this guy over, and then you're going to run it awesomely because you're Davante Adams, and they have no stop. They were not going to let that happen. So that's what they did early on in the football game.
Yeah, wouldn't that open up other things, though? More so?
Well, that's where Josh is brilliant, and that's where life got hard in the Cardinals, and part of the reason they were down 20-0 because he started to get like, oh, okay, they're just going to do everything to stop Davante and always play cover 2 and always have Byron Murphy on him. So now I can play the other concepts on the other side of the ball and kind of screw them over that way, or use Davante as a decoy and he clears out, and now we got somebody underneath because you got 2 guys worried about him, and now you don't have enough people underneath that way. And that's where they were really stressing the Cardinals in some situation. But that changed in the third quarter. It's amazing how the offense changed, the defense changed to where Vance Joseph was like, all right, screw it. I'm going to have a few plays that maybe looks like we're going to do what we did in the first half. We're going to help him, but we're not going to help him. He's going to end up being man-to-man. So then there's the chess game. McDaniels is calling plays thinking, wait, they still look like they're doubling him. Oh, wait, Derek Carr's confused by that. And then they started to, blitz and be a little more creative and take some more chances. And it threw the Raiders for a loop, and they really had a hard time adjusting off of that.
When the Raiders did have success, you're giving a lot of credit to Josh McDaniels, obviously. But also, how did Derek Carr look in making those plays?
He really, he made a lot of really good plays and good throws. He did. They're not a great running team. They're not great at pass protection. And they have nobody that really scares you. And I say that with all due respect. We know that Davante Adams is awesome, but you've said it before, he's not a guy that scares you to like, whoa, he's going to run the 70-yard post. We're scary that way.
Do they have any guy like that?
No, that's I think maybe one of the problems with their football team. And I think that's where the Cardinals got comfortable as the game went along, too. They just going, wait, what are we so worried about playing some of these deep coverages? They're picking us apart with some of these underneath throws and things like that. Let's be a little more aggressive, take away some of those options, short crossers, all of that. And it made life very, very hard on Derek Carr that way.
You thought J.J. Watt popped in the film, right? Still a force.
Yep.
You thought Zach Allen had a good game, the fourth-year guy out of Boston College.
No doubt about it. But that's where it's like, it kind of ends right there. And then JJ being his age and the injury history here as of recent, it just concerns you to go like, I hope he can keep going. But he's still a force. And like he's capable of making plays, getting pressure on the quarterback. He's just like his brother. He's got great eyes always. So like if he's not close to the quarterback, he just goes, well, I'm just going to swat the shit out of this ball in the air and bat it down. He's still very good at that. But yeah, it's again, I'm not in love with the talent on that Cardinals defense. Isaiah Simmons didn't even start. I think that tells you something from week 1 to week 2, right? But still had the big play at the end of the game, so good for that to force the fumble on Hunter Renfrow. But yeah, I think we kind of hit it all there. I'm reading over my notes just to.
Yeah, I think we got it. If the Cardinals do take your advice and go full Kyler in the short screen and open everything up, I don't know. Maybe they have a chance to beat the Rams, who have a history of being able to bottle up Kyler Murray.
I know. Yes. Yeah. It's and again, I don't think the Rams' defense is as dominant as we've seen the last few years either. So I'll be interested to see where this goes. And yeah, it's weird. We could have some good teams in football this week where you go, they're 1-2. Like, well, that's crazy. And then this is definitely one of those matchups.
Or 0-3 in the case of the Raiders
0-3.
at Tennessee Titans.
Right.
Desperation Bowl, Pete has put in the rundown.
That will be. Vrabel and McDaniels as 2 guys that know each other and all of that. That's another tactical battle right there that's going to be interesting.
Final game we want to look at, Colts and Jaguars. Going to look at one side of the ball here. What is wrong with the Colts offense and what maybe is right with the Jaguars defense? 24-0 was the final score. I'm just going to read what you have written here. Hold on.
Go ahead. Do it. You got it.
Jaguars defense. Quote, in your notes, in cursive, too, if you can picture this listening on the pod. I have a man crush on the Jags D.
I do.
You got a new crush.
I got a new crush. Every now and then, just a hot woman comes into your life, and you're like, damn, I like her, right? And that's what the Jags are to me, right? They are. They got it all. And there's, like we've talked about, they're young, but they're creative on the defensive side of the ball. It's not just vanilla and bland, but it's not like overly creative to where you're like, oh, this is reckless. Like, it's not like that. It's just the right amount. And, yeah, I mean, what's not to like? Like, let's just
you are in love.
Like, let's go through it. Let me just name some names here in this process. I mean, I love their D tackle in Roy Robertson-Harris. I've loved him ever since the Chicago days. And then you couple that with Trayvon Walker, who's a freak show. He is. And he's, even though I don't think he had a sack in the game, I can't remember off the top of my head, he is a force and really is a natural gifted pass rusher that I think we're going to continue to see him be disrupted that way. Josh Allen on the other side, who is a force, athletic. Both of those guys can rush the passer at a high level and drop into coverage in a high level. You couple that with the two middle linebackers, Oluokun and Devin Lloyd, the first-round pick out of Utah, who's like a praying mantis middle linebacker. You're like, wait, 33? Who the hell is this long, fast guy? Oh, my gosh, that's Devin Lloyd. Whoa. And Oluokun is just a sledgehammer who can run all over the field. You know, the corners are long and athletic, and Tyson Campbell and Shaq Griffin, way to go, Pete, for picking me up there on the other side. You know, the safeties, Rayshawn Jenkins and my man Andre Sisco. I mean, I got to crush at all three levels, right? It really is. It's amazing. And I can't really overstate the ass-whooping this game was. Like, I really can't.
Colts had no chance to do anything offensively.
No effing chance. Totally overwhelmed. Like, completely overwhelmed. Matt Ryan, you know, was under pressure, you know, and he moves good in the pocket and does things like that, but he couldn't even move against this crew. I will say, I think I said this on Monday, his arm strength is a little concerning because I do think it's one that's like defenses might go, well, we don't really think he can throw it up behind us too much, so we're going to play downhill and aggressive. And then the O-line for the Colts was disappointing just to get your ass whooped like that. Like, no chance. Like, totally dominated in every phase.
That's been such a strength for them. That's been such a strength for them.
I know.
You don't think it is this year necessarily.
It doesn't. It almost feels like the Cowboys a few years ago, where you were like, oh, the Cowboys online, the Cowboys online. All of a sudden, it got to the point where you're like, what? They can't run the ball when they want to run the ball anymore.
One of those things in football where you're like, I don't have to think about this.
I know.
They have a great offensive line. It's one of the things I don't need to think about.
Exactly right. And I guess I'm a little worried.
We need to think about it.
You definitely got to think about it. And then with no Michael Pittman Jr., I know that was, an issue too, but. Yeah. I just want to make sure I get to some of my points here and just make sure everybody knows my crush here. I mean, the first drive was the only drive of the game where I felt like they had anything going. And then Ryan threw the bad interception. So that was bad, and he was under pressure.
From Trayvon.
Right? Yes, it was under pressure. Trayvon getting around the early. And then, the other thing is that the Jags, because of those two freaks on the edge, like, they can rush 5 and create 5 1-on-1s, and it's like one of those is going to win one of those one-on-ones. And then, but they also, like I said, like Walker or Allen can drop out and they can play coverages too, but yet like, oh wait, our tackle was kind of going that way to block Trayvon Walker, and now, okay, it's still, now it's 4 1-on-1s on the other side, and they try to readjust and help. So that's where they're good. And they're well taught in zone, and they can rush 5 and play man off of it because of the talent they have there too. So that's where you can tell I'm very excited about the Jags. The Jags are one of those teams that's close to me. They're close. If they can get another win here early, I go, oh, they could be one of these teams that comes out of nowhere and becomes a player in the AFC. I really do believe that. We'll see if they can do it.
They can make life hard for the Chargers this week, especially if they don't have Justin Herbert 100%, which he might not be.
They definitely have the defense and the scheme to make life hard on them. They do. Now, the Jags offense, this will be a real test for them too. This is the best defense they've played in, this year as well. And with those pass rushers and some of the secondary guys we just talked about, like they're going to be, they're going to be tough to handle too. But I'm excited to see it because these are two teams that. This is going to be two teams that are going to get on the field, and I think they pride themselves a little bit like we're the freakiest guys on the field here. And I think the Jaguars are going to be like, screw you. We're freakier. And that's where I love those kind of matchups. This could be a, whoa, we jump on the stage moment for the Jaguars if they do pull this off. I'm not saying I'm going to pick them because you heard me say I like the Chargers a lot. But, yeah, I think this is a sneaky good game.
They got some swag. They got some confidence here. And why wouldn't they have some confidence here?
Yep.
Colts go up against the Chiefs. Yeesh. Plus 6.5. Oof.
It's Colts 6.5.
Yeah, Chiefs 6.5-point favorites in that game.
Yeah. That's I was always told by a gambling friend when Vegas sets a line. I don't know if it was set at 6.5. At 6.5, that means they don't know what's going to happen, right? Like 6.5 and 2.5 are the two Vegas lines where they go, it's a little dicey, and that made me perk up a little bit, but. I don't know.
Chiefs by a touchdown? I think they could easily
They
do
could.
that.
Here's where I think it could be maybe a little. Gus Bradley has had a pretty good feel. He's the D coordinator of the Colts, and he was with the Chargers and he was with the Raiders. He's had a pretty good feel for the Chiefs offense. So maybe that's where they get into thinking they could maybe slow them down there that way. But yeah, I mean, I'm picking the Chiefs to win that football game. Yep. There's no doubt about that.
All right, and that's it. That is the Treasure Hunters edition of Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. We will have 2 bonus plays because we don't do the video plays here on this part of the podcast anymore.
Right.
But check your Twitter account. Check social media out there because we're going to have a couple of plays. We'll take a look at a Patrick Mahomes throw. Want to take a look at one of those Dolphins plays too, I think. So we'll put those on Twitter.
Yep. And I want the homies too. If there's plays that you want to see us break down on social, get at us on Monday and Tuesday.
Ooh, yeah.
Get at us. You know where to find us.
One Pete and Ahmed picked.
Right.
And one homie picked.
Right.
And leave you completely out of it.
I'm all for that. I kind of want you guys to pick the social stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are more in tune with what's being said on social media.
But a lot of the times
anyways.
you see the intricacies and things that really make them pop. And
well, you
they're
give
not
me the
obvious
plays,
to us.
and I'll tell you every now and then. Go, you know what? There is some good things about it, or no, that's stupid. And it's
Pete,
too
this
easy.
is how it'll go. Chris will go, I want you guys to pick the plays, and then we'll pick the play every time. And Chris will go, actually, there's a better play out there. That illustrates the point you're trying to make.
You're right. It could happen. You're exactly right. All right, everybody. I hope that was a good one. I hope everybody enjoyed. Ahmed, thanks for driving the ship and deciphering the notes.
Yeah.
You deciphered.
I was up for 3 hours last night reading through.
Decipher the treasure map.
I wonder what takes longer, you to write them, me to read them. I don't know. It's probably pretty close.
It's like hieroglyphics. You got to figure the treasure match.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's part of it.
I'm Nick Cage in that whatever movie you were talking about.
National Treasure.
National Treasures. Looking at the
watch it with your kids. You'll like it.
Will
Morgan's behind you shaking her head. Going, it's good.
All right. I will do that.
Okay. No, you won't.
Probably won't do that.
All right, everybody.
Got no time. I'm
Peace out.
I
know. Peace out. You know where to find us, find me, and me and Florio, PFT PM Picks podcast tomorrow. That'll be out early tomorrow afternoon. You can hear us break down these week 3 matchups, but I hope you enjoyed that. Ahmed, you the man. I love you a lot.
I love you too.
Okay, you don't even know what movie that's from, but clap it up. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.